Hola Madridistas, welcome to the season finale, the last hurdle that we have to cross before we actually get to the UCL final. I wish I could portray more excitement in my voice, but the last month of games have been largely meaningless. But you know what excites me? Our sponsor Manscaped, who offer a wide array of products for male grooming. You name it, they have it. Trimmers, shampoos, nail clippers. So if you want to check out that for like very decent prices, use code LBR20 for 20% off and free shipping. It'll really help out the channel as well. And joining me on this preview for the game against Betis is Farouk. Man, how are you? How are you taking the Tony Cruz retirement announcement?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a week without we were sported games in the past midweeks, Champions League semi-finals and quarterfinals and whatnot, and unfortunately this week we are being spoiled with the news that Toni Kroos is gonna retire. And that's the thing, like this just tells us that all what we read in media is all bullshit and nonsense. When they come and tell us, oh yeah, he's closer to staying than leaving, oh he's building an academy in Madrid, so that shows that he's there for the long term and shit this and that. So that tells us that just take everything with a pinch of salt. You just really don't know what it is until you get it and official. And yeah, I just didn't see that coming, and it was a total blindside. But then when you come back and look at everything, it looks like it just everything tallies. I feel like the reason why he went back to the national team and this and that and stuff. So just everything tallies to be like similar to what happened with Zidane in 2006, right? Like go to the World Cup, have a good one, and just call it a bye. So yeah, but happy for him, living at the very, very peak of the game, man. I mean, right now he's been the third best player on our team this season, so that says a lot, playing for a team that's in the Champions League final and competing on all fronts, a team like Real Madrid and still being, at the very, very top of the game. It's sad that it's living, but there's no better time than to live right, while you're on top of the game.
Yeah, I know Tony Cruz is ready to leave. I don't think fans are ready to let go. But yeah, we'll do a full tribute and review options for who can actually take his place when the season ends after the Champions League final. But maybe I thought we can go through some quick thoughts to maybe try to condense this man's decade-long Real Madrid career. I'm gonna ask you maybe a couple of questions. Just go through. Let's go through it with a rapid fire. So the first question is, what's your like favorite version of Toni Kroos that has played for Real Madrid? Through the years, he's actually played as an advanced playmaker when he just came off from Bayern. He was playing as a cam, but then he turned into a wide creator, maybe just covering for Marcelo on the left wing, and then he was used to make a whole midfield work just playing through the left back position. And then finally, we have this version of Toni Kroos with it was like basically a quarterback sitting in between the defense, helping out the build-up.
Yeah, I would say I'm inclined towards saying, either the quarterback or like, while he was covering for Marcelo, I felt, because I kind of feel like, that was a period where you could not actually, I feel like a lot of people didn't value what Toni Kroos gave, because it was just like, yeah, okay, it's Toni Kroos, like he's just pinging passes. I feel like that was a very, very, that was in my opinion, that was like, one of the peaks that we saw. And then of course, like, the whole playing as a quarterback thing as well for the past couple of, at least for this season, and also maybe not last season, the season before that as well. It's been really, really interesting to watch that as well. Like it's literally like a trademark. You just watch him, he drops back in between two center backs, and sometimes it's almost like a third center back, even like sometimes even deeper than the two center backs. So like, it's something that you just come to expect, and how the ball is gonna go. He just gets the ball and he sprays it to Vini or he sprays it to Danny Carvalho. Like that's literally a signature thing that is basically unstoppable. You know what's gonna happen, but you just cannot stop it. So like, yeah, I'm torn between these two, honestly.
Yeah, Toni Kroos is inevitable, but I would say like I really enjoy this quarterback version. Just uh, like capitalizes on all of his strengths, his passing, his coolness on the ball, his long passing. But he was low key kind of restricted, just playing covering for Marcelo, worrying about the defense and whatnot.
Yeah, I think so. But I feel like in that case, he was able to set the tempo of the games,
Yeah.
much more than actually he does right now, in my opinion. He literally either speeds up the game or slows down the game how he wanted. When he was playing with the BBC and all that. But yeah, man, I mean, I feel like this version of Tony Cruz also is another peak of Tony Cruz. But as you mentioned, like it's different, different responsibilities and different tasks as also. Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's not even get into the stats. Those are all ridiculous. Throughout all the 10 years that he's played here, he has always managed about 92, 93, maybe even 95% passing rate. And one such season. But then I was gonna ask about maybe his legacy. A lot of people were like, hey, initially when starting off, Toni Kroos is a side passer. He is a side passing merchant. He knows
Yeah.
he doesn't know to do anything else. But I feel like the three-peat kind of shut them all up. Do you think uh, beyond that, does anything else stop Toni Kroos from being mentioned in the best midfielders of all time?
Definitely not. I mean, three-peat or no three-peat, Toni Kroos is definitely the best in his caliber of midfielders. Of course, they're different kind of midfielders. They're destroyers, they're tempo setters, they're this and that. But in my opinion, I think when you come to those guys who set the tempo of the game, I think Toni Kroos is the very best. If not, then at least he's one of the very best in that. So I think the three-peat or lack thereof, like I mean, that's going to be a disrespect to Toni Kroos and be like I mean, the thing is always like I always say this about like whenever sometimes actually like when you talk to people and they have a certain school of thought, you just understand that okay, yeah, there's no need to have a discussion with this person because it's just a waste of time. So if someone comes and tells me that oh yeah, like Toni Kroos, yeah, he's just a sidey passer, okay, yes, that's fine. I'm just going because there's no need to argue with this person like why like with all due respect, the same way like I will come and argue with people that tell me that the earth is flat. I mean, there is no need to argue if you're already like if you're stupid enough to believe this, then I have nothing to say, man. Like that in its own, it's tells me a lot. So yeah, or definitely, man. Like Toni Kroos, I just feel like it's a very good gauging of how if you want to engage with someone, just ask, yeah, it's Toni Kroos a side passer. If the person tells you, just I mean, don't waste your time engaging with them. Honestly, that's just the thing. But yeah, Tony was phenomenal, man. Honestly, it was phenomenal.
Absolutely. I don't know if the earth is flat or not, but then I know Toni Kroos is not a sideways passer. But yeah, last question is like, do you think he leaves at his true peak? Because I feel like this season it has been a trademark season, especially considering his one weakness that that is kind of very valid, saying that he lacks defensive prowess. He doesn't track back well enough. But this season he has been turning up in these crucial games. You saw against Bayern, you saw against Man City. He was the one who was cutting out the last pass. He was the one who was making those tight tackles, and I feel like he's taken a step up this season in terms of the defending.
Definitely, man. I think not just that. I think also, I don't know if I would say just taking a step up, but I think like the midfield four right now actually masks the deficiencies that Toni Kroos has defensively. You understand? So I feel like that's like he has these four mobile players all around him. So or three mobile players around him. That literally covers for any deficiency that he has, or rather they do not put him in that tough situations where he has to race through. Rather when he has to be in a foot race with a striker or an attacker 1v1. So I think that kind of puts him in, just as you said earlier, like doing the things he knows how to do best. Finding passes, slowing down the game, speeding up the game, setting the tempo and all that. So I think that's the key thing. Yeah, I think the structure of the midfield actually has brought him to the fore. So to answer the initial question you asked, is this the peak of Toni Kroos? Yes, but this is one of several peaks. This isn't the highest he has been, but he has been at this point at many periods in his Real Madrid career.
Yeah, pretty much every season is his peak. He has never dropped this level. But yeah, I'm going to read a couple of chats. Madrid TV says Toni Kroos is one of the best midfielders to ever do it. He's a 25 million bargain of the century. Yeah, couldn't agree more. And Scott Hyman is also there. He says, "Pick up to all. Hala Madrid. Hala Madrid, man." Yeah, I guess I don't know. I don't really want to stop talking about Toni Kroos and start previewing this game. But we have
Yeah.
to do it. Or maybe like I was thinking, a lot of this is the biggest question that lies on fans' minds, right? Once Toni Kroos leaves, like who is going to take that place, and we can cover like who can take it or who that's a combination of who can actually take it. But what is like one thing according to you, Farooq, that we will actually miss from Tony's game that this current team does not have?
Well, that's a good question. I would say that ability to find a pass, man, that's what he does best, no?
Yeah, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I would say that ability to find the pass. I think that's the one. I mean, I don't know what Toni Kroos looks like behind the scene, but I mean, based on what we hear, see in the interview, he's like tell it as it is kind of guy. Like he's not someone to sugarcoat stuff or say anything like that. because we've seen in the summer basically when Jude was announced, and he was like, "Yeah, we've seen 100 million players before." Like, it's not about the price tag, but it's about what you do on the pitch. So he's that tells that it is kind of guy, but I don't know what I say. I don't know what he is behind the scenes, but definitely, he's one of those players that you just miss that key quality that they have in this case, which is just finding that pass.
Yeah, for me, it has got to be the ice in his veins. Even when like 2, 3 players are pressing him, he still always manages to find the pass. Like you never don't see that often with our current midfielders. Like even the current version of Modric, like he is sometimes prone to mistakes, but not Toni Kroos, man. I feel like that's the biggest thing that we're gonna miss. Just that calmness, that ability to actually rally the team with his leadership. He doesn't talk a lot, but just the way he plays, players just feed off of that, and we're gonna absolutely miss that.
True.
Yeah. All right. Asher has already started to preview the game. He mentions in the chat, Guller should start at right wing. Yeah, we'll get into it. But before we go into the Real Madrid lineups, let's take a look at Betis. Yeah. So they pretty much have nothing to play for. I feel like the last match day was like the most exciting match day in La Liga for quite some while. Atletico lost what 4-2 or 3-1, something like that. All of the teams that were about to be relegated got relegated. Nobody really changed their place. Everyone just kept their place and clawed onto their position in the table. But yeah.
Actually, we were expecting maybe to see something towards the end of the season, with Athletic Bilbao, also competing for the European for the Champions League places rather. They're in Europe already, anyways. But yeah, they also kind of tore it off since they won they actually didn't tore it off, but they just couldn't keep up the pace, with the UCL competing for the UCL places, But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but. No, it's interesting to see. Again, you might come to rule that fifth place that the Spanish league could not uh, get. But yeah, it is what it is for now. Next season we fight again. Hopefully, in the coming years we can get back that fifth place. And because I feel like Bilbao were quite good this year, and it would have been great if they could have showcased their talents on the Premier European competition. But then, yeah, it is what it is.
I feel like the biggest disappointment for me this season has been Atletico. They've actually fell off. They didn't do well in the Champions League. They didn't do well. Like from January, they've been in a constant spiral. Like they're probably gonna lose their best striker in the last few years. Morata's gonna leave. It doesn't look good for them. And with their spending cut down so much, they don't really have an option of like really good replacements as well. I just see a downward spiral from here.
Yeah, exactly, man. I totally agree, because like for me at the beginning of the season, I honestly felt the closest challenges we had was Atletico Madrid, and I definitely felt that. But as you mentioned, like for me as well, they've definitely been the biggest disappointment. I feel like they totally underperformed. But in Spain, in Europe as well, you might point to 1, 2 things, but then again, they lost to the finalists right now. Like the people who defeated them are people in the finals, so that also says something about the caliber of the opponent as well. So yeah, like in the league, they've definitely been a disappointment.
Absolutely. And with Betis, it's the standard team that hasn't changed in the last 2, 3 years. It's Willian Jose lining up at front. Nabil Fekir. Like the surprise for me is that he's actually fit for this game at the end of the season. Usually, he's always missing with injury towards the end. But yeah, this time we'll be able to see him. William Carvalho, always there. Should be hard to get through against. Jose Perez is the most dangerous winger they have. So it's a pretty standard Betis team, nothing that we're not used to. It's just that we're going to be playing our strongest 11, and hopefully, these guys can get the job done and, get some confidence. I think the biggest narrative actually heading into this game is like maybe Nabil Fekir can cause problems for our defense, and we have to see how Camavinga actually does against him. If he can actually cover the flanks, if he can cover the space just in front of the defense, and that should be interesting to see, and maybe it can shed a bit of light on how the final will go.
Yeah, that's very true, because as you mentioned, like we are expecting to see at least a strong lineup for maybe the first 45 minutes or the first 15 minutes or something like that, to see at least to evaluate what the players will look like, as you said, what the final might look like, and also to give the players a bit of tempo to follow, to follow up with the, or should I say, yeah, to follow up, with the good form that they've been in, just to keep that rhythm there. So that that will be something to see. And as you mentioned, because of course, Real Betis have tailed off, but let's not forget they had a superb start to the season where literally, they were all scoring left, right, middle, center. And as you mentioned, like we know like the quality that they have with players like William Jose, William Carvalho, Nabil Fekir, the playmaker, and of course, let's not forget, our very own Isco as also. It's definitely going to be a test for our midfield and our our defense as well, to see if they can contain these guys. But then going forward as well, it's gonna be quite interesting, because one of the reasons why they tailed off is like, there is no that defensive solidity that they've literally considered as much as they've scored, So basically, it should be, a very interesting proposition for our attackers, as well, to maintain that rhythm, to get into form, and have some good moments before the final.
Yeah, man, I would have actually loved to, see Isco in this game, but unfortunately he broke his tibia. He's injured. He's out of the Euros as well, confirmed. So yeah, I feel like he just would have. It would have been nice seeing him at the Bernabeu, and additionally, he would have proved to be an absolute test for our defense.
Oh yeah, that's actually quite unfortunate. I wasn't aware that Isco was out of it all, and that's quite unfortunate to hear. But yeah, this is this is one of the unfortunate sides of the game, man. Like, injuries are just part of it, and hopefully we wish him getting back to full fitness and getting back to full form as well.
Yeah. Okay, in the chat, he says, Farouk, man, long time. How's the research coming along? Man, what are you researching?
What am I even? I'm even time speechless, man. I don't even know what to say. What's he asking, man? Come on.
I don't know.
mean,
More like
what,
the YouTube channel is not like the YouTube chat is not a WhatsApp DM. Like,
I mean, right? And Mo is a quite fun guy. I mean, literally like 2 days ago, like I think it was 2 days ago. Like we were on a chat with him actually, talking about some bullshit nonsense. But yeah, research is coming along as much as it can come. It's horseshit. We do a lot of work and you still see that you haven't done nothing. So it's just like going to the diva with a basket. Well, yeah, like that's the situation I'm in right now. So that's why you can see like I'm physically exhausted. But yeah, I mean, like, nothing tops our love for the game, man. As long as we're just gonna talk about football, man. Even if I'm about to die, man, I still can do that.
absolutely. Yeah, that's like a good ending point. But like for the ad break, we're gonna hear from Doris. But when we come back, we're gonna absolutely get into the lineups, talk a bit about Chomini's injury situation, and go to the predictions. But yeah, Doris, take it away.
Hola Madridistas, welcome back once again. I'm here to remind you that if you want to help and support this channel, you do have a way to do that. We partnered up with Manscaped. You can use our code LBR20 to get 20% off and free shipping at checkout at manscaped.com. That's LBR20 for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. So, what it is. Father's Day is also coming up. I'm sure if you don't have a father, there's some other male figure in your life, if it's not yourself. And my guess would be that you all need a new trimmer. If it's your dad, he probably had the same one for the last 15 years, so it might be time to change that one. So look no further, Manscaped is here for you. They have beard trimmers, the highest quality of beard trimmers. You get extra parts with it. It features skin safe technology. There's spotlights on it. It's waterproof. It's amazing. 80 million men in the world use this. So I'm sure if that many people use it, it must be pretty good. Other things on their site, you can order like the full packages, like the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. You get a lawnmower, that's a trimmer for downstairs, with extra parts, all the parts. There's so many parts. You have the ear trimmer, nose trimmer. You get the crop soother, the aftershave. Opa. ball deodorant, boxers, two baggies. You get a bunch of things in the packages, so it's definitely worth your money. But you also have shears. You have like mats for your after you shave. You have so many things. Also from creams and lotions and everything that you would need for your beard and your body. For a man, look no further than Manscaped. So yeah, if you really want to, maybe get your dad something or someone in your life, do check out manscaped.com. Use code LBR20 to get 20% off and free shipping. That's code LBR20 for 20% off and free shipping. And thank you guys for watching. Back to the video.
He got the most goals. Even Osimhen had like 1 goal. Lukman had 3 goals.
Yeah, me and Farouk, we were just talking about the Leverkusen game and how crazy of a game it was, and the fact that it isn't like totally Xabi Alonso's fault. Obviously, he maybe got a few things wrong, but it was the main reason was that Atlanta played out of their skin and they executed their plan really well.
Yeah, well, a hat trick from London-born Nigerian international who never lived in Nigeria. By the way, that's crazy. I don't know how people do that shit, but anyways, yeah, we will take a bit of pride in that. Like, although like he's not from our country, but yeah, he's a London-born Nigerian international. Oh, fucking hell. That doesn't even make sense. A London-born Nigerian international who never lived in Nigeria. How does that even make sense?
And your kids
Well,
are
yeah.
gonna be Milan-born Nigerian children, so.
I mean, you never can tell. A lot of shit can happen before the kids get here, anyways. But yeah, like they were 3 phenomenal goals. The first one, yeah, was reacting first, and the other 2 goals, man, were like phenomenal out of this world goals, man. Yeah, like credits and congrats to Atlanta, and credits to Ademola Lookman. Like yeah, it was. I mean, at least for neutrals, it was a really really interesting game. 2 teams going on the front foot, trying to make shit happen. Fantastic final.
Yeah, in the second half, I was just hoping, Leverkusen would somehow get it back level and then, we'd have a crazy end, but then just never panned out.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, like Leverkusen had a lot of luck this year as well. Of course, they had a very good coaching, very good team and everything. They had a lot of luck, so it was bound to, end one day, and it was sad like that to end, on the highest European, or not the highest, but at least, what at least the highest European competition that they're in. But it is what it is. And as you rightly mentioned, I think, I feel like, oh yeah, there are things that Alonso missed, but he's not the reason they lost. The players literally were sleeping, in that game. But then who has gotten all the plaudits with Leverkusen? It's been Xabi Alonso, so definitely he's gonna get all the blame as well. But he's a young coach, and as more rightly said, group chat as well. He's a young coach. He's gonna learn, and these are learning moments. But yeah, for neutrals, for a phenomenal game. As a Madrid fan, I don't have any horse in the race, so yeah, it was a good evening for me.
Yeah, most of the chat he says Xabi got his tactics wrong. Come on now, it was mainly his fault, and Jacob, don't go easy on him now. Yeah, I mean, I feel like he got his tactics wrong even before this. If you look at the German Cup final, if you look at some of the major Bundesliga games, he did get his tactics wrong, but he always adjusted. He always made sure that things would work out in the second half at least. And this time he just couldn't do it. Maybe it was a lack of motivation on the part of the players, or he was just out of his depth. But yeah, hopefully this is a learning moment, and once before he comes to Madrid, he can iron all of these things out, because I feel like that's the most important part of this modern game of football. You just need to make these tactical adjustments at halftime, or like even before that, so you can adapt to the opponent. Like, it doesn't work if you just go with one tactic and then think it'll all work out.
Yeah, true. I mean, I agree with what you're saying, Jacob. I mean, of course, it's not the analysis on Xabi Alonso, like there, but I kind of felt like, personally for me, I just feel like the players were just so par. As I was saying to you before, before we came back live, it was like players could not make passes. Like Granit Xhaka has been phenomenal all year. Like literally, he was. I don't think he completed 3 passes in a row. The attacker Adli was taking the ball and literally passing back to the defenders. I don't know how that's happening or not, but there is that. I don't. For me, of course, like a certain amount of blame lies at Alonso's feet, but like the players just didn't play. You understand? That's just it. The players just did not play. And maybe you can point to the fact that not playing Waits as a number, as a false nine, rather, was also something because Rich was playing out wide rather than through the middle that like he had done in the past, stuff like that. But it is what it is, and one thing we know that since the turn of the year, like Alonso has not fully trusted either Sheik or Victor Boniface, So it's always been like it's not like he was always been playing with traditional number nines, and in the final he teach them no, that hasn't been the case as well. So yeah, but anyways, interesting game, man. We're not here to talk about Alonso and his team. That's
enough of
that's
the
their problem
Leverkusen
in
post
Germany.
match. Yeah, let's get back into the
Exactly.
lineups. But yeah, man, I feel like the major talking point is that Xiaomini is still out. He looks like he's gonna miss out maybe the first couple of games for the Euros as well. That is the consensus right now. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know that they want to play this stuff, but why the fuck does he has to miss out on the first couple of games of the Euros? Just send the kid back home, let him go there and rest. Okay, I mean, I say a kid, but like he's a grown ass man. Like send the man back home and let him rest and recuperate for the next season. Then come on, he has other Euros ahead to play. Why go with someone that's I don't know, like why they will put you through that. I mean, if you're gonna miss a couple of games already, like just stay at home. Like there are only 3 games in the group stage now. If you miss 2 games already, there's a high chance that before even the third game rolls around, you're already out of the tournament. So why even waste that,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's of course like we know that he is a supremely talented player, and also he also wants to play for his country and all that. But yeah.
And France is not a team that has a lack of talent anywhere in the pitch. So I'm pretty sure even if
Exactly.
he's not going to be missed heavily. But yeah, Xiaomini is set to miss the UCL final, so it's going to be all the responsibility falls on Kamavinga, and we have to absolutely play out of our skin this game, show the fans and show the players themselves that this is the actual strongest lineup. It's not the B team that we've been seeing so far, and we need to bang in some goals.
Definitely, man. Definitely, like we need to put those guys in there, just make something happen. As I mentioned earlier, like the defense of Real Betis is not as astute as what their offense promises to look like. So it should be a good position for our players, to try to make stuff happen and get into form. And I think that's the really important thing right now is to get those offensive players going once again, because it's been a start-stop period for them since ever the semi-finals, since the league was won as well. So we need to get them back into that phase, get the Judes, the Vinis, the Rodrigos, back into it, and also those options off the bench as well. Give them those minutes also to keep them warmed up, because they are all in good form right now. Be it Joselu, be it Brian Diaz, and also the Turkish kid as well. Articular and all that. So it's it's looking really good for at least offensive wise, and even on the defensive as well. The players have been putting in shits left, right, middle, center. And let's not forget the defensive, disaster class we had in the last game at the Ceramica. Also, we need to literally wipe that from our memory, And I felt really bad because, Andrea Lunin is there trying to, compete for the starting spot in the UCL, and all of a sudden he concedes 4 goals. And I can't remember all the goals, but like I do remember that like they almost it's either stupidity of Militao, or they are going to sleep or some shit like that, So those kind of, or Dani Ceballos deciding that he wants to give someone a Christmas gift and shit like that. Yeah, so those kind of situations, and unfortunately, he was on the receiving end of that, and I think that literally sealed his fate. I don't know or not, but yeah, we have to wait to the final and see what that's I'm very sure that will have a factor in deciding who starts the final or not. It's unfortunate, he's been basically flawless this season, and he was on the receiving end of 4 goals, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was almost like he was set up with having Militao in front of him. Yeah, so,
honestly, yeah,
masterclass by Carlo.
Exactly, man. I can agree with that. At least they will be, oh yeah, you remember the Villarreal game, that time we selected.
Yeah. Well, at least we got that out of our system right now. Hopefully, we just never see that again. But yeah, man, let's get into the lineups. So for me, it's got to be Courtois, yeah.
Yeah, actually, I was reading something that was saying like Kepa is going to be given some minutes. Like, I guess maybe towards the 80th minute, like Courtois is going to be withdrawn and Kepa is going to be brought on or some shit like that. I don't know how that will work, but yeah, I think it's just a stupid waste of substitution. Like, I mean, let them clap for him before or after the game. Like, why do you have to bring him home in the game? Like, it's I don't know. But anyways, yeah, it is what it is. They want to give him the appreciation, but yeah, I agree with you. I think Thibaut starts because I think this is the penultimate game, before this. So I think this is the moment to, to stop playing with the lineups and just bring the Galactico XI, the UCL final XI into the team, into the stadium. So yeah, I agree with you that Couto starts this one.
Yeah. Apart from that, it's going to be the team that started against Bayern with the the absence of Germany, obviously. So in defense, Carvajal, Rudiger, Nacho, and then Mendy.
Definitely, I am really excited for Nacho Fernandez actually to start the final as the captain, and hopefully inshallah lift that trophy as the captain as well. So I mean that's something you want to tell like the kids honestly, like, because when you go and tell kids, oh, look at Messi, he started from this, or no, like that's not you want to point to people like Nacho Fernandez, who, like, of course we know he's a very limited player, like no one is saying here that he's gifted, no, we know that he's a very limited player, but he made it at a club like Real Madrid. He made it there as the fifth center, CB option, the sixth CB option. Tchouaméni started before him, although he was captain of the team, but he fought his way down, he put his head down, he fought his way, and he's here about to start a Champions League final and hopefully lift the Champions League trophy as a captain of Real Madrid. Like, these are the stories you want to tell the kids, not the fact that, oh yeah, Dani Carvajal came through that. Yeah, of course, but yeah, Dani Carvajal was exceptional talent anyways. It's not like naturally like a shitty player, but I'm just saying, like, when you compare to the standards of the players that are around him, naturally is relatively average. You understand? So, like, I think it's it's a complete arc, and based on what we heard again, like, horseshit. For me now, I've stopped believing all these rumors since Toni Kroos literally retired, and I'm here, with all the bullshit nonsense they have told us. Yeah, until I see they said adios Nacho, like, I'm not expecting that Nacho leaves. So, but based on what we've read, it's like he's gonna leave, so like it's gonna be a
I
complete
don't know,
circle
man. The recent reports are always saying, no, like a couple of them have said that Nacho has decided to stay, but yeah, nobody should be believed until we see the communique official or the player himself.
I mean,
coming
since
out
they
and
could
saying,
not decipher Toni Kroos, they came here and telling me, oh, Toni Kroos is building an academy in Madrid. They said, what the fuck, bro? Nonsense bullshit. They were like, oh, the reason he's playing for Germany because he sees himself continue, he's feeling good and this and that. So since he's feeling good, he's gonna continue. Horseshit. Yeah, he's retired, right? So that's the thing, like, just never can tell. But yeah, I just want to give some love to Nacho if he does eventually leave. This most likely will be his last home game as captain as well. So, credit to him, like, he's been, a phenomenal servant, and he, deserves whatever he wants to do next. If he wants to go abroad, if he wants to, stay in Europe or whatever, like, it's been phenomenal. Like, he's been a phenomenal servant, someone who's been there, plugged holes, played as a center back, played as, right and left back without complaining, just getting the job done, and he's been a symbol of consistency as well. You know what you're getting. It's that 6.5 performance, nothing more, nothing less. Okay, occasionally we've had more, occasionally we've had less, but you just know what you're getting with Nacho, and there is no what is not. Like, he's always there playing with his heart on his sleeve. So yeah, as I said, like, this is the story you want to tell to the kids, man. Like, this is someone who, in the midst of Galacticos, became the power ones. That's that was the goal of Florentino Perez, and literally Nacho embodies that.
Yeah, and this season especially, I feel like he went through a redemption arc. Like, we were all calling for Tchouaméni to start before him, especially a bit more earlier on and towards the midway point. But then with the games against City and Bayern, like, he's actually proved his worth, and shown that he can still perform at the top level.
Definitely, I couldn't agree more. That's the thing, like, we have had our doubts about Nacho, especially if you could remember, like, I think he had 2 stats or 3 stats, and there were 2 red cards immediately, like, so it's been not been the best of seasons from him, but he answered the call. The call was made, and he answered. Literally, arguably the best striker, the 2 best strikers in the world. You might argue in Kylian Mbappe. What the hell? In Harry Kane and Erling Haaland. So it's like in Harry Kane and Erling Haaland, and I don't know, for some reason my mind keeps going to Benzema and Mbappe, whatever. Anyways, so like in Erling Haaland and Harry Kane, he literally answered the call. Marshaled the 2 players. And of course, even the thing is still in my mind. I remember, in the game at the Etihad, I think in the first minute or in the second minute, a ball was played into Haaland, and literally, Nacho was there with his armband. He was there literally, like, manhandling Haaland, like, to set the tempo that, yeah, bro, like, you might be whatever you are, but not today, another day. So definitely, like, yeah, like, Nacho, as you said, like, Nacho has really, really, completed the redemption arc this season, from having a lot of doubts around him and now to be, the player that you want to start the UCL final.
Absolutely. And yeah, let's go to the midfield then. It's going to be Camavinga, Valverde on the right, Toni Kroos on the left, and Bellingham at the center. Or is it going to be more of a box that we've seen recently?
Yeah, basically it's going to be similar to what we've seen, in the past weeks when Tchouaméni was out. So I think most likely it's going to be something quite similar. Yeah, I actually have no problem with that. I'm quite comfortable with that because we've seen, this year that these players can, plug the gaps and find ways and adapt to certain situations. So yeah, I'm quite comfortable with that as well.
Yeah, and then in the second half, obviously Toni Kroos is going to come off like a huge round of applause. So yeah, expect to see that a bit earlier on in the second half, maybe in the 60th or 70th minute.
Yeah, that's something, of course, definitely, and it's going to be quite iconic, if Toni Kroos comes out for, Luka Modric, that's going to be quite interesting to see. But I don't know if Carlo, or maybe he might want to show a change of guard for, Toni Kroos for Arda Güler as well. Can be an interesting, one as well. To just, show that change of guard thing, we're moving from the past to the future, But I think it will be more iconic if Toni Kroos is replaced and received by Luka Modric, honestly.
So yeah, folks, keep your eyes glued to the screen, glued to Toni Kroos, because this is the last time you'll see him play at the Bernabeu.
Yeah, honestly, I know when I read that it was on Tuesday, right? I actually got emotional, man, because you kind of feel like these are people that okay, yeah, like we started watching football before they came to Real Madrid, but like you at least for me, like we got more invested with them being there. You understand? Because like okay, when I started watching much more younger, like it's not like I had I think Cruz joined when 2014, right?
2014.
Yeah, Cruz joined in 2014.
It's been exactly 10
Yeah,
years.
just right, exactly. So that's the thing, like how old am I? Removed 10 years from my age, like it's I was still basically stupid. Okay, I'm still stupid, but like I was even more stupid, So that's the thing, So it's crazy, man. Honestly, like it felt really, really heavy because I always mess with him and be like, yeah, he's like the person who literally is too emotionally involved in football. That's just a game of entertainment, but like you could feel in certain instances the emotion gets to you, and honestly, that it's that was one of the those times like just saw that and you're like, what the fuck, bro, why?
Yeah. Probably guys, stay tuned for Farouk's Instagram. Maybe he posts a picture of him crying or like live stream something. Let's see.
That would be quite iconic though, but then I don't have Instagram, so
yeah, supposedly
I would cry in my bathroom.
Yeah.
I would cry in my bathroom when the shower is running, so no one can know.
Alrighty. Yeah, man. I guess.
I mean, if I have Instagram, man, like you can be well assured that someone would have found that by now. But yeah, anyways.
I don't know, Farouk. You're a sly man. You can certainly hide it. If Toni Kroos can hide his retirement like the whole season, I feel like he already made up his mind towards the midpoint of the season. But yeah, I feel like you could be hiding something too.
Well, that's the thing, man. Like we're sly, for for a certain group of people, But yeah, you're not part of them. Like I mean, why would I be sly with you, bro? Like I mean, yeah.
Yeah, let's forget it. Let's get back into the lineup. Yeah, up top it's gonna be Vinny and Rodrigo. Yeah, no change. A lot of guys were asking for, hey, Rodrigo's not really performing. Like, should we start Arda at up top?
Definitely not. Definitely not. You want Rodrigo to be there, in that game to try his best, to get some game time, to build some momentum going into the final. Of course, I understand what everyone's talking about Arda Güler, but come on, like this is like a final warm up before the ultimate game of the season, which is the UCL final. So yeah, Arda has been good. Arda has been this and that. There's no one denying that. Like Arda is not one for today. Arda is one for the next 10, 15 years. Hopefully, that's crossed. But like we need, to get Rodrigo into that rich vein of form again. We need to get him playing. We need to get him, even if he doesn't score, at least to get into good moments, to try to make something happen, So I think that will eventually help, in the long term, at least, when we look at the final, in terms of the final. So yeah, definitely, like I mean, the calls for Arda Güler definitely short. I mean, I would even understand a bit if you talk about Brahim Diaz, but Arda Güler, bro, you want to start Arda Güler in the Champions League final? I mean, whatever they're smoking, I want to. I mean, I'm sure everybody except for Turkish people would never start Arda Güler in the Champions League final.
Yeah.
I mean, only three, of course, and you can understand the sentiment. If Arda was Nigerian, of course, I'll also be fighting. Yeah, who can start Arda in the final? That's just it.
Yeah, for me,
Well, I just don't think so.
yeah, I understand the sentiment. Like he's been scoring left and right, but Rodrigo just brings that X factor that you might not get from Arda Güler if he starts. Plus, like I'm really interested to see in this game, like if Bellingham is back in his best. Like he wasn't always fit during that game against City and then against Bayern. If he can actually turn it up and combine well with the Rodrigo and Vinicius, that's all I want to say. I don't care if we win or lose. I just want to see a good game from these three guys.
I totally share the same sentiment, Jacob. Honestly, I totally share the same sentiment because I feel like we will also need that performance, from Jude. We also need a very strong presence in the midfield. Like it's not about the goals, like there, but as you mentioned, that combination with Rodrigo, with Vinicius, we need to see that again. We need to build on that. That's why I mentioned that we need to have these guys on the pitch. Honestly, we need to have these guys to try to find themselves, try to build. And you're at home, you're at home against a team that's 7th. They don't have the best defense as also. It's not the best situation, but it's a very, very good situation to build up, towards the final.
And one interesting thing is that like we've seen the variations between these three players. So in some games, in the biggest games, like Rodrigo starts out left and Vinicius plays more centrally. Do you think we'll see that this game?
Definitely. I think we're just going to see the exact thing that they want to replicate in the final, in my opinion. I think we will see the exact thing that is being planned to be replicated in the final, So that's something to look out for, honestly. Hopefully, in the post match we can talk about, if we see any certain pattern of plays or what, we see with the players, if there's, a kind of like if there's something new, there's a change in something, maybe we can talk about that hopefully at the end of the game. But I'm just expecting, to see what we've seen against Man City, what we've seen against Bayern Munich in the first legs. Sorry, for Bayern Munich it was in the second leg. I'm expecting to see that, with Vini centrally and Rodrigo out wide.
Absolutely. Ashik is in the chat. He says, "What's up, boys? This weekend is a big match. We can seal the league with a win or a draw. Hell, even with a loss." Yeah.
Exactly, man.
Certainly a big match, man. Like he also mentions, it'll be the last time we'll see Toni Kroos play at the Bernabeu. So, which is the reason why it's gonna be a big match, irrespective of what's on the horizon. Like even if it's Champions League or not, if Toni Kroos is playing his last game, this is the biggest game of the season.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely the biggest game of the season.
Yeah.
Tony leaving, that's something that we'll be getting used to, man. And I heard like I think he tweeted that he gave Fede his number 8. I don't know if that's something that's gonna materialize.
Oh wow, okay. Fede with the number 8, yeah. I think it'll suit him, but it'll be like a very different number 8.
Exactly, man. Fede has the 8 jersey, man. Like count me, man. That's something I'm gonna invest some money, bro.
Yeah. Ashik also says, "Congratulations, Farooq, on your countryman's historic hat-trick. Look, man, that was a hat-trick."
Look, man, that was a hat-trick. Yeah, Ashik with his way with words, man. As I said earlier, I was saying to Jacob, like, I don't know if you caught that, Ashik, or not, but I was saying, like, Ademola Lookman is a Nigerian that is born in London that never lived in Nigeria. I don't know even now that is possible. How can you be? But yeah, anyways, we will take it. Let's not get into the politics of this and that. Let some people not, come and go after me and start saying that I am this and I am that. Anyways, but yeah, I find it quite funny that he's a Nigerian international who was born in London that never lived in Nigeria. What the fuck, bro? I mean, my mind is just keep going boom like when I'm thinking about that. But yeah, like it was a great goals. It was a great couple of or batches of goals from Lookman. Like he deserved it. Like at the beginning of the season, he was firing on all cylinders for Atlanta, and towards the turn of the season, he kind of dipped in form a bit. But yeah, man, he's been back. And actually, the thing about this is that okay, like this is not the way. But anyways, like so, like Atalanta is in Bergamo, right? And Bergamo is basically like 1 hour from Milan. So like to put this into context, like for me to go home and come back like to the office or to the university or whatever, it takes me like 40 minutes. That tells you like how close it is, like Bergamo to Milan. But the fact that people in Bergamo still choose to support Atalanta, although like it's been a shitty team for years, like it says a lot about them. And actually, there is this tradition in Bergamo that the mayor of Bergamo sends every kid that is born in the hospital, in the main hospital, a baby, a mascot of Atalanta, like a teddy bear of Atalanta. Like, so when you're being born, you're automatically an Atalanta fan.
Oh wow.
You understand? So like when they played the semi-final against Marseille, they won 3-0 actually again in Bergamo. One person actually named his son Lukman on that night. Lukman scored in that 3-0, and then his wife gave birth that night, and actually he named the baby Lukman. So it's like we have baby Lukman and we have the big Lukman on the pitch. So it was like honestly, like it's been, and they're one of the few teams that actually own their stadiums, and they have a phenomenal stadium in Bergamo. I went there sometime in the past. It's a phenomenal stadium, So yeah, I mean, like, and Gasperini also has, been the guy who has been ridiculed for being, the bridesmaid, but never the bride. And finally, he popped his cherry and won something important, something big. So yeah, I mean, shout out not just to Lukman, but to the whole people from Bergamo.
Absolutely. I guess Farooq, like, let's wrap this up then. Unless you have anything else to say, let's go to the predictions.
Yeah, man, I think it's gonna be a party, man. I'm looking, to a lot of goals, but I'm just gonna go with 3-1 or something like that.
A 3-1, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, Nacho and Rudiger, they're gonna be turned on, switched on. We're gonna see a different version of them compared to the last 3 games. So maybe a 2-0, easy victory. Second half, Toni Kroos comes off. Maybe even Kepa comes on. I don't know, but yeah, let's see.
Yeah. I mean, I wish it was, we could have more subs and, literally just turn it into a full party and, just change, the whole thing. With bringing literally everybody off and everybody, and just giving everybody, a chance to join the party, because of course it's the last one of the season, so it's a bit nice. But yeah, we can only bring 5 players on, so yeah, and if Kepa has to be one of them, whatever, but let's just get the job done and get our players into form. I would really love, if both Rodrigo and Vini can be on the on the score sheets, that would be great.
Absolutely. And Ashik says, I'm sure Real Madrid will look into the upset in Europa and use that as a reference to ensure that they don't overthink or lack focus against Dortmund. 100%, man. I feel like all of the players and the staff, they might have been watching.
Yeah, I think so, but I just feel like, like that's the thing, like, I think Champions League finals are played differently at Real Madrid, man. I really don't think, they need that extra motivation of seeing what the offset looks like, I definitely do know that they're fully surely aware that, this is a one-off game, and this is a game that, literally anything can happen, and we already have this mentality at Real Madrid, that you remember in the Zidane era, literally where every game is being described as a final. So I think, that's just the thing. And especially, with the uncertainties surrounding a lot of players in the team, we don't know what's going to happen with Luka Modric. They're talking about that he's also going to get renewal, but we don't know. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, We have the captain Nacho as well, So these are things that, these players also are also, fighting to cement, certain legacies, especially for players like Vinicius, and Jude Bellingham as well, before Kylian comes. Like, this is, their moment and this is their trophy, before Kylian comes. And of course, we know what happens when he comes with the whole PR machine like thereof. So yeah, I think, the team has more than enough, even away from yesterday. But then, yeah, still, the game yesterday can also serve as a timely reminder.
Yeah, especially in the likes of Toni Kroos, he was already warning people that these guys, we're not going to take Dortmund lightly because they know what German teams can actually do. They faced up against Leipzig, they faced up against Bayern, like they were both underdogs heading into the game. But yeah, we never took them lightly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Ashik says, Joselu hat-trick, finally. Yeah, man, it could potentially be the last time that, Joselu has a chance to get a hat-trick in La Liga. But yeah.
Yeah, that's very true, man. Yeah, of course, why not, man? If that happens, man, it's well, you never can tell Ashik, man. What about the Champions League final? There's always going to be that game there, Even if he doesn't get it now, he will get that one last chance, maybe 10, 15 minutes in the final, and he can get something done. But yeah, fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. At least for your sake, I want that the hat trick to happen.
Yeah, imagine if he scores a hat trick, he'll be the top scorer of the UCL. That'll be an unforgettable season.
14 now. Exactly, man. That will be such a sight, bro.
Yeah. All right, folks. That pretty much wraps this preview. stay tuned for all the content that we have planned. Even after the Champions League, before the Champions League, we're gonna have the Dortmund preview. We're gonna have a guest on, so yeah, tune up for that. Beyond the Champions League, obviously we're gonna have the post match. Then we're gonna look into the departures. I'm sure we'll hear all of the player departures and maybe arrivals as well announced soon after the Champions League final. But yeah, even heading into the Euros, we have a lot of content planned, so stay tuned for that. Check out our Instagram as well. After this match day, we're going to be bringing you footage from the Bernabeu. We're going to be asking fans, especially about Toni Kroos. So yeah, it'll be a great way to honor Toni Kroos just being part of the fans and part of the atmosphere. Stay tuned for our Instagram for that. And last but not the least, big up our partners over at Real Madrid Committee for their awesome work and support. But yeah, that's it. For what to say.
Hala Madrid.
Hala Madrid.